There exists, in the realm of the unconscious, a force that calls out not with noise, but with the quiet certainty of recognition. When you meet someone meant for you, the psyche does not question it, remembers. This phenomenon is not a product of logic, nor of time spent, but of an ancient memory stored within the deeper layers of the self. We do not fall into these encounters by accident. They are archetypal events, moments where the collective and personal unconscious unite to whisper, "Here, pay attention." It is a mistake of the modern mind to believe love must always be cultivated slowly, that certainty must be reasoned into existence. On the contrary, the deepest truths of the soul often arrive in a flash like lightning across a dark sky. The soul, when it sees what it has long sought, responds not with hesitation, but with a calm, instinctual knowing. One feels not the excitement of novelty, but the serenity of familiarity, as though meeting not a stranger, but someone remembered from a dream. To feel this recognition is to encounter what I have called the anima or animus, inner feminine or masculine archetype projected onto another. These projections are not illusions in the negative sense. They are the symbolic language of the unconscious, pointing toward wholeness. The individual does not merely meet another, but meets a piece of the self. This is why it feels so profound, so undeniably real. Yet, we must remain cautious. Not every intense encounter is meant to last a lifetime. The psyche may present figures to awaken us, to teach us, or to help us reclaim a lost part of ourselves. Therefore, the sense of knowing someone may be a call not to possession, but to transformation. What we do with such knowing determines whether the encounter will liberate, use, or bind us. In every human being lives the image of the Bella Veda form, shaped not by individual experience alone, but by the accumulated psychic heritage of the species. This image is what I have called the anima in the man and the animus in the woman. When one encounters a person who closely mirrors this inner figure, there is an uncanny feeling, a strange intimacy that defies explanation. It is not that you know them logically, it is that you recognize them psychically. Such recognition is often mistaken for mere romantic attraction, but it is far more profound. It is the soul stirring in the presence of a symbol it has always carried. The person becomes a mirror, a vessel, reflecting back not just your desires, but your spiritual potential. You are not drawn to them simply because of who they are, but because of who you could become through them. This is the mystery of love in its highest form, a confrontation with the self through another. However, projection can be a dangerous thing if left unconscious. The more intensely we feel about someone, the more prone we are to project upon them. When someone is meant for us, they will not merely absorb our projection, but reflect it back with clarity, inviting us into greater self-awareness. It is not a union of fantasy, but a sacred alchemy, seeing the other as they are, and as they are meant to be. In such a union, we are drawn not to escape ourselves, but to find ourselves. This is the paradox of true relationship, that it both dissolves the ego and strengthens the individuality. We are not consumed by the other, but illuminated. The one who is meant for us does not complete us, they awaken what was sleeping within us all along. The rational mind would have us believe that life is governed by chance and cause. But in the deeper strata of reality, there is a different or rarer, meaningful coincidence that arises when inner states and outer events align. I have called this synchronicity. When someone is meant for you, the universe does not shout, but it speaks in signs, symbols, and subtle alignments. Perhaps you meet this person at the very moment your soul is ready, or perhaps you encounter them under peculiar circumstances that defy logic. The timing feels orchestrated, not by your conscious efforts, but by something greater, what I have often referred to as the self, the totality of the psyche. In such moments, the unconscious rises to the surface, revealing that the world is not merely mechanical, but mythic in nature. This does not mean that every synchronous event is a divine command, but rather an invitation to consciousness. To see such moments clearly is not to fall into superstition, but to awaken to meaning. When the right person arrives, they will feel like a symbol of something greater. Their presence will seem charged, their words oddly familiar, their energy echoing something you've long sought, yet could never name. To recognize someone as meant for you is not to possess them, but to participate with them in the unfolding of a shared destiny. Synchronicity is the soul's whisper in the fabric of time, drawing two individuals together not by force, but by resonance. It is not about luck, it is about alignment, about being in the right inner place when the outer opportunity appears. There is no relationship that does not reflect the condition of our own psyche. Every person we encounter holds up a mirror, but the one who is truly meant for us does not reflect our personate mask we wear for the world, but the self that lives beneath it. They see through the surface into the symbolic heart of who we are, and we, in turn, recognize them not merely with our eyes, but with our being. This recognition is often startling. It bypasses social conditioning and polite expectations. One feels known not through a process of explanation, but through a deep psychic familiarity. You may find yourself speaking truths you never knew you carried, or feeling emotions you thought you had buried. The soul begins to reveal itself in the presence of another who carries its key. To be seen in this way is both beautiful and terrifying, for we are not only recognized for our light, but for our shadow, the parts we would rather forget. The person meant for us does not flatter the ego, but calls it into transformation. They become a crucible in which our false selves dissolve, and our true essence begins to emerge. This process is not always gentle. The mirror does not lie. If we are not ready to confront ourselves, we may reject the very one we are meant for. But if we have the courage to look, to listen, and to remain open, then the relationship becomes not just a connection, but a revelation. It becomes the path to individuation, the great journey of becoming who we truly are. The persona is the mask we show to the world, a necessary facade shaped by social expectation and our own desires to be accepted. But when we encounter someone truly meant for us, the persona begins to crumble. In its place arises something more authentic, more vulnerable, the naked truth of our inner world. This is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. True intimacy requires the death of the mask. We cannot be truly loved if we are not truly known, and to be known requires the courage to reveal the self beneath the social image. The person who is meant for you will not be satisfied with your mask. They will reach for your soul. They will ask not, "What do you do?" but, "Who are you when no one is watching?" In the presence of such a person, you may feel exposed, yet oddly safe. There is a tenderness in being seen, even in your brokenness. The right person will not judge your wounds, they will honor them. They will see not just the scars, but the story behind them, and in doing so, offer you the space to heal. This is not romantic fantasy, this is psychic truth. Only in such depth can love become real. When someone is meant for you, the relationship is not about maintaining appearances, it is about dissolving illusions. You are not performing for each other, you are awakening one another. The encounter becomes a mirror, a sanctuary, and a firewall at once. It is not easy, but it is true. Every person carries within them a shadow, the rejected, forgotten, or suppressed aspects of the self. When someone is truly meant for you, it is not only your light that they awaken, but also your shadow. This is not cruelty, it is necessity. For without confronting the shadow, there can be no integration, and without integration, there can be no authentic love. It is common to seek in others only what makes us feel good, what flatters our image or eases our pain. But the one who is meant for you will challenge you, not because they are adversarial, but because they are real. They will mirror the parts of you that remain unconscious, and in doing so, they offer you a profound opportunity to meet yourself more fully. This is the alchemy of Lovenot, the merging of two perfect beings, but the union of two individuals brave enough to face their imperfections together. To love someone truly is to hold space for their shadow as well as their light. It is to say, I see you, not only when you are glorious, but also when you are raw, confused, or afraid. The shadow does not need to be erased. It must be acknowledged. Thus, when you meet someone meant for you, there will not be only peace and harmony, but also fire and friction. That fire is not a sign of failure. It is the friction of transformation. Through love, we are purified, sharpened, and made whole. We come not to escape our wounds, but to heal them together. The unconscious does not speak in words, it speaks in images, symbols, moods, and instincts. And when two people are truly meant for one another, their connection is often sensed not in dialogue, but in silence. There is a resonance, an unspoken depth, a familiarity that feels older than the moment itself. This is the language of the soul. One may find that with such a person, words often fail to capture the totality of what is being exchanged. A glance may hold more meaning than a speech. A moment of stillness may feel more intimate than any grand gesture. The unconscious is always speaking, always guiding, if we dare to listen beneath the surface of things. When someone is meant for you, there is a psychic synchronicity, a harmony between your unconscious contents and theirs. You begin to dream differently. You sense their emotional state before they speak. There is a kind of telepathy, not magical, but archetypal. The boundaries between inner and outer, self and other, begin to dissolve in healthy and illuminating ways. This is not possession, nor is it fusion. It is communion. It is the soul remembering itself through the presence of another. When you are in alignment with someone on this unconscious level, it is not just your heart that speaks, it is your entire being. And in such spaces, love becomes not just a feeling, but a sacred act. The goal of psychological development is individuation, the realization of the self. This process is often imagined as a solitary journey, but in truth, the presence of another can become a catalyst for this awakening. When someone is truly meant for you, they will not distract you from your path, they will deepen it. Such a person does not demand that you shrink or conform. Instead, they encourage your expansion, your authenticity, your evolution. Their love is not possessive, it is liberating. They are not threatened by your becoming, they are inspired by it. And in return, you offer the same space for their individuation. This is love, as a mutual unfolding. But this path is not always smooth. The individuation process requires death and rebirth. Old identities must fall away. You may feel the urge to cling, to define, to control, but love asks for trust. The person meant for you will not be a mirror of your ego. They will be a mirror of your potential. This often means they will challenge you to let go of who you were, so you can become who you are. To walk beside such a person is to enter a sacred contract, not one written on paper, but one inscribed in the psyche. You are companions on the journey of becoming. You hold the lamp for one another in the dark places, and in the light of such companionship, the soul blooms. We are all wounded. None of us emerge from life unscarred. Yet it is often through these wounds that love enters. When someone is meant for you, they will not fear your wounds, they will honor them. Not to fix you, for love is not a solution, but to witness you, which is the deeper healing. There is a tendency in modern relationships to hide our pain, to present only the polished surface. But the soul craves something deeper. The person meant for you will not be attracted to your mask. They will be drawn to your truth. They will love the part of you that has survived the fire. And in that love, you may find the courage to no longer hide. It is in revealing our wounds that we invite intimacy, not as weakness, but as honesty. The one who is meant for you will meet you there not with pity, but with presence. They will not try to rescue you from your past, but they will stand beside you as you reclaim it. This is not dependency, it is sacred alliance. And so, love becomes the ground where healing occurs, not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent acts of being seen and held. When someone is meant for you, you do not need to explain your scars. They will already understand them, because in some mysterious way, your wounds will speak the same language. Before a word is spoken, before a story is shared, there is energy. The psyche is sensitive, it feels what the eyes cannot see. When someone is truly meant for you, their energy will not feel foreign. It will feel like home. You may not be able to explain it, but the body will know. The unconscious will know. It is the resonance of the soul. Often, in the modern world, we are taught to prioritize appearance, status, and surface compatibility. But these are constructs of the persona. What binds souls is not status, it is vibration. You will feel at peace in their presence, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is real. There is no pretense, only presence. The energy between two people meant for one another is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, like the calm of deep waters, but within that stillness is depth, layers of connection that cannot be manufactured. You may find yourselves speaking without words, understanding without explanation, sensing each other even from afar. When love is true, it does not have to be loud to be powerful. It is not always accompanied by fireworks. Sometimes it arrives like a whisper that changes everything. The energy between you will not agitate, it will anchor. And in that anchoring, you will discover the kind of love that does not fade, because it was never based on illusion. Every meaningful relationship is a call from the self, beckoning toward greater wholeness. When someone is truly meant for you, their presence does not distract you from your destiny, it draws you deeper into it. It is not about possession or dependency, but about resonance with your inner truth. Their presence reawakens your path, sometimes with clarity, sometimes through disruption, but always with purpose. Such encounters often feel like fate, and indeed, the self often communicates through what appears to be destiny. You may feel as though this person was woven into your life's pattern long before you were aware of it. It is not superstition, it is the unconscious, aligning with outer events to bring you closer to realization. The self is not satisfied with comfort, it demands transformation, and love is one of its most powerful instruments. The person meant for you will not be a solution to your inner conflict, but they will reflect it. They will show you where you still live in fear, where you have disowned parts of yourself. They are not your escape, they are your mirror. Through them, the self speaks. This is who you are. This is who you can become. To answer this call is to step into the fire of inner work. It is to love not only the person, but the self within you that responds to their presence. The union is not only with themite, is with your own soul. Such relationships are rare, not because they are unattainable, but because they require truth, courage, and depth. They are not for the faint of heart, but for the fully alive. Dreams are the royal road to the unconscious, and often, before or after encountering someone meant for you, the dream life becomes rich, symbolic, even prophetic. The psyche prepares us, warns us, or confirms for us what the waking mind cannot grasp. These are not idle fantasies, they are communications from the deep self. You may dream of this person long before you meet them, or you may see symbols that later unfold in your waking life. Water, fire, reunions, forgotten places all hold meaning. When someone is truly meant for you, Your unconscious often recognizes it before your conscious mind can name it. In the dream, you are free of social filters. You see clearly. But dreams are not always romantic. They may also reveal the inner work required for the relationship to flourish. They may show you the wounds that need healing, the fears that must be faced, the truths that must be owned. The person may appear as a guide, a companion, or even a challenger. Their symbolic role is as important as their literal presence. To ignore these dreams is to miss the deeper meaning of love. When someone is meant for you, the relationship becomes more than an external connection, it becomes an inner dialogue. The psyche opens, and through dream, synchronicity, and reflection, the soul begins to integrate. It is not just about meeting the other, it is about meeting yourself in the presence of the other. When a connection is true, time and distance do not destroy it, they reveal it. Many relationships dissolve when faced with separation, because they were held together not by depth, but by proximity. But when someone is meant for you, the bond persists not through obsession, but through quiet knowing. The soul does not forget what it has truly recognized. This is not about clinging to a fantasy. It is about understanding that soul-level connections are not always linear. Sometimes we must part to grow. Sometimes the timing is not yet aligned. But even in absence, the presence of the other lives on not as a ghost, but as a guiding light. Their memory becomes a symbol of what is possible, of what is real. Distance teaches us whether the connection is rooted in truth. If the love is authentic, it does not wither, it matures. You do not seek substitutes, you seek understanding. You honor the bond not by forcing its return, but by becoming more of who you are because of it. This is love, not as possession, but as transformation. In time, you may reunite or you may find peace in the knowing that the encounter served its sacred purpose. Either way, when someone is truly meant for you, the connection becomes part of your inner architecture. It cannot be erased, because it was never external, it was etched into the soul. Love without freedom is not love, it is control. And freedom without love is isolation. The one who is truly meant for you will not bind your wings, but will fly beside you. They will not ask you to abandon yourself, but will walk with you as you become more fully who you are. This is the sacred tension between intimacy and independence, union and individuation. In such relationships, there is a paradox. You feel more yourself than ever, even as you are profoundly connected to another. The person does not complete you, but complements you. You are not halves becoming whole, you are wholes, meeting in wholeness. And in this space, love becomes a dance, not a contract. A choice renewed in each moment, not a role assumed once and forever. Freedom, in this context, does not mean absence, it means presence without force. It means trusting that the bond is deep enough to withstand difference. When someone is truly meant for you, they will not require you to shrink for their comfort. They will welcome your expansion, and you will welcome theirs. This is love that liberates. Such love is rare because it demands that both individuals do their inner work. It requires self-awareness, integrity, and courage. But when it is found, it becomes the foundation not just for a relationship, but for a life transformed. It is not just romance, it is revolution. The rational mind may doubt, but the soul does not. When someone is truly meant for you, you do not arrive at this knowing through analysis, you feel it in your bones, in your breath, in your silence. It is not frantic, but still. It is not anxious, but certain. You know, not because they are perfect, but because something deep in you responds with a quiet yes. This knowing cannot be manufactured. It is not the product of checklist compatibility or forced chemistry. It is the echo of something ancient, quote, reunion of energies that have always been seeking one another. In their presence, you feel more whole, more alive, more real. It is as if the world sharpens, becomes more vivid, more true. You do not need to convince yourself or persuade them. The connection speaks for itself. It may not always be easy, but it will always be meaningful. It will call you to rise, to grow, to shed what is false and embrace what is real. You will not be the same, and that is the point. Love, at this depth, does not leave you untouched. It leaves you transformed. And so, when you ask yourself, is this person meant for me? Listen not just with your mind, but with your soul. Does your spirit exhale in their presence? Do you feel recognized, not flattered? Do you feel called, not comforted? If so, then yes, you know. Because when someone is truly meant for you, you'll know, and that knowing will change everything. In the end, when someone is truly meant for you, the connection transcends mere coincidence or superficial attraction. It is a meeting of the unconscious, a recognition that stirs something deeper within your soul, a call to wholeness and transformation. Such a relationship is not about finding perfection or comfort, but about discovering yourself through another. It is not about possession, but about sacred union, where both individuals are liberated to become more of who they are. The journey is not always smooth, is a path of growth, of confrontation with one's own shadows, and of moments that challenge your ego. But through this, you are shaped and refined. Love, in its truest form, becomes a mirror to your highest self, showing you not only who you are, but who you can become. And when the person meant for you enters your life, the very fabric of your existence shifts. Timing, distance, and obstacles seem to fade into the background as you both navigate this journey together. However long or brief, it is the recognition, the unspoken resonance, the alignment of souls. These are the markers of a connection meant for you. You will know it, not through logic or analysis, but through a deep, undeniable knowing that reverberates through your entire being. This knowing, like the unfolding of a dream, will lead you both towards something greater than you ever expected. The one meant for you is not just a person, they are an experience, a revelation, a catalyst for your personal evolution. And so, when you find them, trust the process, trust the synchronicity, trust the love that exists, not as an escape from who you are, but as a call to become more fully yourself. Because when someone is truly meant for you, you'll know, and in that knowing, everything changes.